Hey everyone, you're here with Mark Boutwell at Perfect Gardens TV. You're here back with Grow Journal episode number 2 with Mark and Jason. Like I said, this gentleman's been with us for about 10 months to a year now. He's been a client of mine. We've kind of went through this whole evolution in our experience from him being a client to him now being pretty much the primary R&D facility for Perfect Gardens for testing lights, nutrients, just because of how steady and consistent Jason is through his growing experience. And right now, he just brought up a really great question I thought we would bring up. If you guys haven't checked out our monthly membership for only $2.99, you get direct access to our private membership group. So far, we have over 839 pictures, 126 videos, 7 files, 13 audio files, and a whole bunch more knowledge that we're constantly covering on a daily basis. Make sure to hit the join button on the bottom of every video. Make sure also, if you guys are interested in checking out metagrow.com, which is the light that we're testing right now, make sure and enter in PG10 when you go to the website to get 10% off. Some of the things we did notice, 2 things particularly in this grow, is we vegged the plant 1 week longer just because he waited for the flipping the plants because I was going to come into town, so he ended up vegging the plants a little longer than he normally would have. By doing that, we started to also see some deficiencies a little sooner before the plant finished its grow. Roughly, we're about 6 weeks in, right, Jason?
Yes.
Okay. And Jason just asked me a great question. He said, let's back up real fast. Since we're still 6 weeks into veg and we are growing with biodynamics using down to earth, the issue with this is that we're running into a phosphorus deficiency. And we can tell this because of the purple stems. While I'm doing this, I'll be bringing up some of the pictures. But these purple stems, it's a clear indicator that we are seeing a phosphorus deficiency. And right now, if we used some lingonite, lingonite is actually water soluble, which actually might end up working fairly well. We also might use NPK's P2O5 phosphorus as well. The reason why we want to use a liquid water soluble versus something else is because we need something for the plant to take up immediately. Anything else could take 5 to 10 days from now, and the plant will be ready to harvest by that time. And Jason asked me a great question. He said, can't we do something for our soil for the next grow? And yes, absolutely. Jason, what do you have right now? Do you have soil already sitting?
Yes.
Okay. What type of nutrients do you have on hand? Let me see if I can pull them up as well.
Fertilizers?
Yes, fertilizers. Bone meal.
I have almost everything you can think of. Alfalfa meal, kelp meal, bone meal, blood meal, back guano, seabird guano, gypsum, azomite, oyster shell. That's my down to earth product.
Okay.
I also have down to earth 444, all purpose fertilizer.
What I'm going to do right here is, I don't think we've done it together yet, is the Grow Journal, correct?
I don't think so, no.
Okay, and that's my fault. What I'm going to do right now is actually pull it up. For anyone that is wondering or wants to follow along around this Grow Journal, all you have to do is look down around my most recent videos. Look down in the description, just like what I'm doing right here. Click on the show more. You're going to see check out our Amazon list and more. Click on the Google Docs link. And very easily right here, you're not going to be able to change this file, but what you will be able to do is you'll just simply click here, file, and you can hit save or make a copy. Right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a copy, and this one's going to be for James. So I'm going to go ahead and rename this because he's one of my clients, and we're doing a Grow Journal. I'll be doing the work for James today and showing the rest of you guys how to amend your soil, because this is what Jason wants to do. Jason actually wants to put these amendments in his soil and cook his soil for roughly around 2 weeks before he transplants the new seeds into it. So the biodynamics has a chance to build up a fungal and a bacterial colony and begin to make those rocks and bone meal and feather meal nutrient available. So on the third tab right here, you're going to see the soil mix tracker. And you said you have insect flask, kelp, neem, alfalfa, bone meal, and langanite, correct?
I do not have the neem seed or the insect frass.
Okay. Do you have a shrimp meal or a crab meal?
I can get.
Okay.
If you
Well,
want.
I would
I have
probably say
bone
you want to
meal.
re-up on the kelp and the neem again because the
I
kelp
have
is
kelp.
okay. You have kelp, so that's perfect. And the insect flask is a natural pesticide as well. I know you don't really run into bugs, but just in case, it is a natural pesticide. So the neem and the insect flask, whether it's insect, crab, or shrimp meal, those are real more used as a natural pesticide than as the NPK.
Right.
But they do have calcium and other stuff in there. So what I would do initially is I would end up getting and all you simply do for this recorder is you come over here and you actually, how much soil will you end up using?
4 7-gallon and 4 10-gallon.
Do you transplant the 7
So
into the 10?
well, that's how much soil I have.
Oh, okay. You have four.
So I have to add it up. It's 28 and 40. So I have 68 gallons worth of soil.
So we'll put 70, 68. We'll just put 68 to be. And do you see right here, as I added in the 68, it actually automatically updated the amount of you would put into the totals exactly. And like how we could have used this in this grow, and we're going to do it better on the next grow, Jason, just to be really clear. So right now we've already talked about how to fix it. And I know you're really solid at it, but for the next grow, what you would end up doing is we're going to figure out how much we should put into your soil and then cook it and then put the plant in there, watch for a deficiency. And then as we see the deficiency, we top feed with a certain amount that we're missing. And then we add that back in there. And then on the next grow, we'll know it's like, okay, we actually needed 4 tablespoons of insect flask, not 2. We saw.
Right.
Okay, good.
I totally get it. Yeah.
Okay.
First one's, trial and error. That's the only way you learn.
You got it. So
that'll be easy enough.
What I would recommend personally, and what I found to be pretty solid, and this is with the insect flask. I don't know. Have you ever used bone char?
Biochar.
Or biochar, I mean.
I've been hearing about it.
Okay, I'll send you a link for the biochar, a small 5-pound bag from Amazon, and some insect flask. Those two would probably be the only 2 things I'd recommend. You could put 1 tablespoon of langanite right now. Because it is water soluble, I would recommend to put 1, but then you're going to have to do a top dress roughly 3 weeks into flowering with an additional 2 tablespoons and let that water solubility soak into the humic layer and let the humic layer hold on to the water soluble minerals. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to replace that 3 with 1. Huh?
I said because it's water soluble, and through watering it, you'll reduce the amount that's in there more than the plant will take up. So you have to re-up it.
Exactly. Exactly. And you can technically put 3 tablespoons in there if you want. And I know you're so disciplined at your watering, you don't really have much water runoff, correct?
No. You know what's funny? Out of these 3 plants, they all get about the same amount. They get 2.5 gallons of water when I water them, and one of them will have quite a bit of runoff. Another one will have very little. It's amazing how different the plants can be and the root systems.
Absolutely. The phenotype characteristics on these plants are insane. They're supposed to, they come from the same batch, but they end up, like you say, you see these small minor differences. And yeah, what else have you noticed different about some of the plants that you're growing that are supposed to be the same?
Well, with the AK-47 that have grown, and I've grown 4 different plants. Each one is different. It's supposed to be a sativa dominant strain. The last AK-47 that I grew, it had leaves. It was short, stocky. I had to lift it up, and it had the fat indica leaves. They weren't long and skinny leaves. They were fat.
Mm-hmm. I noticed that. I remember. You know what? That makes me think a little bit more too. Was the second phenotype, was the leaf structure size the same from top to bottom, or was there a size difference from the top to the bottom one? Do you remember that?
Well, the bottom leaves are always bigger, but that as far as structure was concerned,
it was relatively the same, right?
Yeah, throughout the plant.
Yeah.
Although I seem to remember that as it started budding, it started shooting out long, skinny leaves out of the buds.
That was your first grow, right?
No, the second grow.
Oh, the second grow. Jason, I get excited to just I'm really looking forward to doing this on a weekly basis, like what we're doing right now, because I can trust what you're doing, because I know how consistent you are. Last point to this thing, just to make sure, you can put in 2 or 3 tablespoons of langonite, the more water soluble material. Just have water discipline, or you're just going to you're going to throw out your nutrients. If that makes sense.
Right.
Okay. Okay. And then, so I'd put in, so roughly right now with that amount of soil, you're going to be putting in roughly 8 1/3 cup of each.
Yep.
You could see it right there, right? 8 1/3 cup of each.
Right.
And then you'd put 12.5 cups of langonite if you chose to do 3. If you chose to do 1, it would end up being 68. And personally, actually, I would probably recommend putting more, because we have seen a phosphorus deficiency in all of your grows so far, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, all 3 of these plants had the purple stems.
They did. And
the ones that I have now, all 3 of them have the purple stems. It's at the it's not the stalk. Well, there is a little striping in the stalk, but it's at the leaves. It could also be that
the light and using more strength.
Stay.
What?
Does the purple go away, or
the purple? Yes, the purple should fade back away. And just thinking about it too, we are using more light, and obviously, if we're seeing a deficiency, the plant could be potentially using up more phosphorus because of ATP production.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is interesting. Jason, once again, man, I appreciate you so much. I'm looking forward to getting onto the third Grow Journal with you in the next few days. And it's getting your viewpoint and opinion on what's happening. Once again, for Medic Grow, if you come here, make sure to type in PG10 for a 10% off discount. And please leave a comment, like, share, and subscribe.
So the first set of lights I purchased were Enfun, a brand called Enfun, and I actually got 2 sets of those. They were 240 watt light panels, 2 panels equaling 240 watts. And after that, the other ones I purchased was Leno Focus.